to this episode of Horrific History and Hauntings. I'm Beth.
And I'm Ramy. We're your hosts, here to talk about the stories that the history books ignore.
From horrific epidemics and ghostly hauntings to catastrophes and tragic events that have sickened humanity.
What happened today in history?
Today in history, March 2nd is the day we are recording. 9 months before Rosa Parks, 15-year-old Claudette Colvin was arrested on March 2nd, 1955 for refusing to give up her seat on a segregated Montgomery bus. Her classmates moved, but she insisted that she had paid her fare and had the constitutional right to stay.
Even if it wasn't a racial thing, she did.
Yeah, she paid the same amount.
Yeah,
so.
She paid for a service. She should get it.
Yeah. The police removed her, handcuffed her, jailed her on the charges of violating segregation laws at the time, disorderly conduct, and assault on a police officer.
I say it's just because she had to be hauled off because she refused to move.
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, I wasn't there. Maybe she'd punched somebody, but yeah, I think they had it coming regardless.
A civil rights lawyer was going to use her case to challenge segregation, but the civil rights leaders didn't really move forward with that because partly of her age, and I think it was like a year later when she was 16, she got pregnant.
Oh.
And they didn't.
At the time, that was a...
Yeah. Yeah. So they didn't think she was going to be a strong public figure.
That was a faux pas.
Yeah. Later on, Rosa Parks followed in Claudette's footsteps.
She showed up in Doctor Who, Rosa Parks did. She showed up in a lot of things Rosa Parks has. It's been a while. Not much has changed. Staying busy. Uncle is still in rehab. Got a new dog. His name is Mouse. I like the Harry Dresden Mouse. I just want to use this time to catch up on a few things, by the way.
Okay.
Our link tree that we leave in the description that takes you all our socials and our website and everything now has the gaming YouTube channel attached to it, as well as the normal podcast YouTube channel, and an eBay store called the Gruesome Gaming General Goods. If you buy something there to help keep the podcast hosted, just odds and ends, things our mom made with crafting or old tech I have sitting around. It really isn't old tech. I don't have old tech, but as soon as I know something new is about to be announced, I'll sell the older one. So if you want to help us out, check that out. Other than that, thanks for continuing to listen. Beth, do you have anything to say? Anything new that's happened?
I've been reorganizing and rearranging my house. It's been fun.
Some people enjoy that this time of year.
I've been building my dream house on Sims, but...
You should be recording that.
I am.
Oh, good.
But like I said, I'm going to have to...
Let us know if you want us to edit out things in the videos we post, because it's taken her forever to edit them.
No, I haven't even started editing. It's my dream house. I've been spending my time building it.
Okay, because I don't think we should edit it out. I think
it's going to be like a 5 hour long longer than 5 hour long.
Well, just
video.
Cut the video into pieces. Let us know. Message us on Facebook or email, whatever you want to do. Let us know if you want to watch something like that. Would you rather it be long form or short form? 30-minute episodes, hour-long episodes, or the whole thing all at once. But I still think we shouldn't cut out anything in any of the in-between moments, no matter how you want to do it.
I spent so long trying to rearrange my kitchen. And then when I went back to the kitchen in the house that I live in now that I built on Sims, and I had remodeled it, I liked my old kitchen more. And this is supposed to be my dream house for my vision board.
So you're redoing it again?
No. Well,
it ain't going to be a dream house if you don't like it.
There's parts of it. Like I like my little gaming office setup. I like my design of my bedroom and the design of my bathroom, but I want them to be bigger. So there's going to have to be some little tweaks, but I'm going to have a video out before I do all that because some of it is a dream. Maybe I can take the rooms that I like, plop them on a different lot or, the same lot because I like the lot and try to put them together.
Yeah. We might end up eventually streaming things when she gets the hang of how this goes, but for now it's going to be video uploads, and there's only a couple on the channel. If you haven't noticed, I want to use the first of the episodes to catch up on things since we're taking 2 weeks off, how we do now for a time being. But as you can tell, she's spinning it well, just playing video games.
And rearranging my house.
Yeah. Honestly, though, the research has been a nightmare on some things. This is one of the easiest things to have to research, I'd imagine, John Wayne Gacy, seeing as it's so...
Oh, like I said, I had the notes written down and did the research a long time ago.
Yeah.
I just needed to type it up and make it more organized.
Presentable.
Yeah.
Okay. So today in history, we learned that Beth built her dream house and immediately hated it.
I didn't immediately hate it. It's a nice house.
Oh, it's perfectly adequate. I dreamt of it as a second best option.
I wouldn't complain if I had it by any means. There's just little things that need to be tweaked.
But she's settled. She's
okay. I think for a vision board, I'm dreaming too far ahead because I was like, I have a separate little she-shack type thing on this lot as well, next to the house. And I was like,
That'd be more
the
reasonable.
inside, I was trying to figure out the floor plan, and I was like, maybe we'll have a child or two. And then I realized the upstairs where I was going to put the beds, it was really hard to lay out. I wanted to keep my book nook in my bedroom, and I was just not willing to do that. So I was like, well, maybe we can throw the teenager out in this little she-shack when it becomes of age.
Then you'll be a teenage grandma in no time.
Oh.
Okay, let's get on to John Wayne's story. What else has he done?
Well, in part 3, we covered the escalation of his murders between the years 1976 and 1977. We also named a few of the victims and gave some information on them as well, but we didn't finish all that up because he killed a lot of people.
A lot of boys.
Yes.
Young men and boys.
Yes. On June 30th, 1978, the unidentified body of a young man was discovered in the Des Plaines River. He had a tattoo reading Tim Lee on his arm. About 6 months later, he was identified as 20-year-old Timothy O'Rourke.
Who's Tim Lee?
Maybe it's his middle name. No?
Maybe it's a friend.
Yeah, well, maybe it was his middle name because O'Rourke is a last name.
It wouldn't look as good on a tattoo. It's not really my business. You can tattoo whatever he wants.
It was said that he hung out at gay bars frequently.
Maybe Lee was a lover?
On the north side of the city? I don't think so.
I mean, it's like I said, I'm just
I think
guessing.
he just got murdered by John Wayne Gacy.
It don't matter what his tattoo meant.
His roommate told detectives that before he disappeared, he had recently met a contractor who offered him a job. He went by the name Gacy. He's believed to be the first of Gacy's victims that was disposed of in the Des Plaines River. His crawl space was full of bodies and could simply hold no more.
I say even he's stunned at how much he got away with. He had to be.
I don't see how you couldn't. He must have thought he was a god. I'm invincible. I can never be caught. After his arrest, Gacy confessed to throwing 5 bodies in the Des Plaines River, but only 4 were recovered.
Oh.
So we don't know if they just never found this other person or if he was telling the truth.
Why would he want to inflate the numbers? He's already got records
I don't know.
beat at the time, I think.
Well, it was 33, I think it said, that we know of. I really don't know. Maybe. It's a lot of people. 19-year-old Frank Landigan disappeared on November 4th, 1978. He had just been released from Cook County Jail on a battery charge. Apparently, he was frequently in trouble with the law when it came to auto theft and assault. His body was discovered in the Des Plaines River on November 12th.
Wonder if he was hired or if he tried to rob the wrong guy for a change.
I don't know. There was evidence at the scene, including his underwear that was stuffed in his mouth, that pointed to murder rather than drowning, and the autopsy showed he had been strangled and had inhaled his regurgitation.
Maybe the underwear choked him to the point he got sick.
Yeah, maybe. In November 1978, 21-year-old James Mazzara had Thanksgiving dinner with his family, and while he was there, he mentioned he was employed doing construction work. His body was later found in the Des Plaines River. His death was attributed to strangulation with a ligature.
That always makes me think of a cutting device, like laceration. I have to tell myself, no, it is a cord or something.
Yeah. And then he starts to get a little more careless, or maybe he's trying to get caught.
Well, the thing is, what's the point in hiding it? He's just getting away with it, so
yeah,
he's been caught technically.
I don't know. He was a strange character. In January 1978, 19-year-old Robert Donnelly reported a disturbing encounter with Gacy to the police.
Yet another one who's done so.
Yeah. He claimed that Gacy approached him in a car while he was out walking after midnight and had identified himself as a police officer. And then he pulled a gun out on Robert. He then handcuffed him, placed him in the car, and drove him to his home. And that's where Robert was subjected to rape, strangulation until he was unconscious. And then Gacy would repeatedly wake him up again just to keep torturing him. He also held his head underwater. And while assaulting him, he used Russian roulette to get pleasure from causing Robert fear. And after a while, the gun went off and a blank fired.
I'd say that about give him a heart attack.
Probably. The torture was so severe that Robert said at one point during this, he pleaded with Gacy just to go ahead and kill him. He got away with it again. The decision to drop charges against Gacy for this was because the assistant state attorney believed that Gacy would be perceived as more credible than Robert in court. Sounds to me like somebody just didn't want to do their job.
I guess when it comes to your word against mine situations, they have to look at that kind of thing.
Okay, but look at his past and look at, I'm sure
Do
there's
they even-
probably physical proof
Do
of
they
some-
have his past? They don't have the same records keeping that. They have it, but you'd have to dig.
Oh no.
Now they check him out. They pull up everything he's ever been caught doing.
Jeffrey Rignall, a 26-year-old, managed to make it out of a situation with Gacy alive. I wouldn't say unharmed, but alive. On May 22nd, 1978, Gacy lured Jeffrey into his car with the promise of a ride and marijuana. He accepted, and once in the car, Gacy caused him to black out using a chloroform-soaked rag. Occasionally, he said he would wake up while on the ride to Gacy's house, but then Gacy would just keep covering his face with the chloroform rag. And eventually, because of this repeated exposure to the chloroform, it ended up causing liver damage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Trigger warning for this one, by the way.
Oh.
It's bad.
They've all been pretty rough.
Well, yeah, this one's more detailed, I guess you would say. Robert said eventually when he woke up, he found he was in Gacy's home, and he was imprisoned on the rack. Gacy had used this to obviously inflict suffering upon victims. And when Robert opened his eyes, what he saw was John Wayne Gacy standing in front of him wearing no clothes. He said that Gacy gestured toward the ground and revealed a collection of dildos. They ranged in different sizes and shapes and colors, I suppose. Then Gacy explained in great detail how he was going to use them and the amount of time he was going to use them on Jeffrey. And then Gacy beat him, raped him, using things other than dildos as well, such as pill bottles, candle wax, and pliers.
Oh, no.
Yes. And apparently these were getting inserted into different areas.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So torture. And, of course, being drugged. Despite drifting in and out of consciousness, Jeffrey believed another person was in the room during these horrific acts. So we don't know if...
There was 2 people.
Yeah. Could have been 2 people, but he was obviously in and out of...
He was messed up at the moment.
Yeah. When he finally regained consciousness for good, he was under a statue in Lincoln Park, fully clothed, and he was suffering from severe internal injuries. He was transported to Northwestern Hospital, where he had to stay for 6 days. When he told the police about this experience, they were skeptical, just always skeptical. No, Gacy wouldn't do such a thing.
He knew who he was, right?
How irritating must
they knew it was Gacy. Or he knew the guy's name. Or they just tell a story about it.
I don't know. He may not have.
They might have just told a story about a guy who done this.
Yeah. But Jeffrey remembered his car somehow.
That would give it away.
Yes. And he decided to be a courageous badass. So he spent hours watching freeways and overpasses to try to find Gacy's car.
Mm-hmm.
His patience and work actually paid off because eventually he did spot the car and got the license plate number. He took it to the police, but he actually ended up following Gacy to his house and got the address as well for the police.
He's doing more than they have ever done.
Yes. Yes. But there was no real shock. The police did absolutely nothing with this information. They did decide to do their jobs and launch an investigation into Gacy eventually.
After how many dead?
Yeah. After Gacy was arrested, Jeffrey actually got up and testified against him as well.
Good man.
Yeah. He ended up throwing up while on the stand and trying to describe what had happened to him.
Poor dude.
Yeah. He also expressed that he had hoped Gacy would be declared insane because he believed that the brutality of the attack he suffered could only come from a deranged mind.
Yeah.
And that would make sense. Something was clearly wrong with Gacy, something. On February 16, 1978, the body of 19-year-old William Kindred was discovered in the crawl space. Robert Peast was John Wayne Gacy's final victim. On December 11, 1978, Gacy approached 15-year-old Robert at the pharmacy where he worked. Gacy offered Robert a job to lure him to his house with the promise of discussing employment and signing paperwork. This was actually Robert's mother's birthday, though. So he called his mom to explain that he would be a little late getting home because he was speaking to a contractor about a potential job. Upon arriving at Gacy's house, Robert was tricked by the rope trick and was strangled and murdered. After he was caught, Gacy later said he told Robert that he was going to rape him and that he could do nothing to stop him. He enjoyed putting fear in them.
Yeah.
Robert had a family, though, unlike some of his former victims, and Robert's family cared about him. So they immediately reported him missing to the police, and sadly his body was recovered from the Des Plaines River on April 9, 1979. But this is where there's a turning point. This case proved that
There
it finally forced the police to investigate John Wayne Gacy.
Mm-hmm.
Family that cared, and
They
they were
wouldn't
not
drop
giving
it.
in. That's where I'm going to end part 4.
Okay. Well, that was a good spot to end it.
Yeah.
I remember this part mostly because of the all the documentaries and
Mm-hmm.
true crime stuff you hear about. This is the part you hear the most about, the cops believing everybody.
Finally.
You hear like a 10-minute intro about how he got in trouble before, and then you skip straight ahead to a boy missing from a pharmacy, and they find a receipt
Mm-hmm.
and stuff.
And then there was like a crap load of other victims
Yeah,
before.
yeah. They don't tell. You don't hear about how many times he actually got reported.
Yeah.
And didn't technically get in trouble. Not most of the time, anyway. I enjoy
I hope
these.
You all don't mind me making these shorter with the way things have been going.
Beth,
And
the way things have been going, you said you're remodeling your house and building your dream home. Poorly at that.
I've been focusing on other things, but I also was trying to get caught up, and it just doesn't seem to be working. You keep sleeping, and I keep having other things.
When we first went through this whole every other week thing is because, well, a lot of things, but also Beth had, her own medical issues to cover. And I went through the same problem here recently, and it's caused me to, until they get things worked out, I kind of just pass out.
Mm-hmm.
I have to drink lots of coffee before I come in here. And I know it sounds like a terrible thing to say, I'll just go to sleep.
No. You should see me trying to hide. People would think I'm nuts.
Yeah.
I can't have cameras in my house
Well,
like some people, because people would think I'm nuts. I'm up dancing around, looking at myself in the mirror,
anything
saying,
to keep from sleeping.
I can do this. I can do
Because if you don't, it knocks you right out. And so I've changed the way I take them, and then they changed them too. But all the same, it ain't just that, of course. Like I said, uncle in hospital, new dog, which was planned before all this started. So, but he's a good boy. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, I mentioned the link tree in the description. It has all the socials and everything you want to find us on. Reach out any way you want to. Let us know what you think. Thank you for leaving reviews below the link tree. If you don't want to use the pay or the eBay shop to help us out, there's a option to donate or give us a tip. It's covered by Stripe, so it's secure. We don't know your card information or anything like that. We appreciate any of that you do. Follow us, share us. Eventually, we'll get to the point where I'd say about middle of spring or end of spring, we'll probably get back to where we on a normal schedule again. We have this weird seasonal pattern, don't we?
I hate winter.
I love winter.
I get depression. I'm not meant to be here in the winter. I'm meant to go somewhere nice and hot, but every hot place, it apparently snowed this year.
Yeah, that's global warming. Don't worry. We don't have to worry about that. It's not real this next 4 years.
I'm just going to move to the sun. It's fine.
I'm not looking forward to the storms that knock our power out like it did last year all the time. I mean, it still happens in winter occasionally. That used to be the only time our power would go out was in the winter. And now the last few years, summer, the hottest part, the most unbearable part of the year, the power goes out because of all those new storms. Anyway, check those links out down there in the description. We appreciate that if you do. Thank you for listening. I've been Ramey.
And I'm Beth.
This has been HH&H. Bye-bye.